Hello guys and welcome back to autoX. A few weeks back we promised to bring you a detailed review of the Skoda Octavia RS 245. Now the RS 245 looks largely identical to the old RS 230 but scratched beneath the surface and there are quite a few small little changes. We have the car with us today and what we are going to do is take a closer look at all the changes and find out how much of a difference do they make to the overall drive experience. Let me briefly run you through the changes to the interior first because there's not much that is new here. In fact, there are just two primary changes. Behind the steering wheel, you get an all-digital instrument cluster. While it displays information quite neatly and ample of it, it is starting to look a bit too familiar now. The only other change to the interior is the addition of the VRS mode button next to the gear lever. Now this button is essentially a shortcut of sorts to toggle through the driving modes, and there are 4 of them: Eco, Normal, Sports and Individual. We'll get to how these alter the overall drive experience in a bit. Everything else about the cabin is largely familiar. You get soft touch material at the top of the dash. There are some rough plastics on the face of the dash, which is quite disappointing considering the price of the car. Otherwise, the cabin is a really well appointed one. You get sport seats at the front with VRS insignia on the seat back. To add to the overall sporty appeal of the car, you get Alcantara upholstery, some 4 carbon fiber bits on the door pads and the center console, and contrast stitching all around. In terms of practicality, the Octavia RS 245 continues to be an extremely practical car. You get large bottle holders on the front door pads. There is ample of leg, knee and headroom at the back, but it can only seat 2 adults at the back. 3 abreast will be a tight squeeze, especially considering the large transmission tunnel in the center. In terms of features, the Octavia RS 245 gets pretty much everything you would expect from a car in this price. You get a touchscreen unit in the center which has navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, voice command and more. You get traction control, dual zone climate control, both the front seats are electrically adjusted and a ton of other features as well. Just like the interior, there are a few blink and miss kind of changes to the exterior design as well. Overall silhouette, the pull-back headlamps and the front bumper with the massive air lamps are all the same. The only noticeable change along the front is that the butterfly grille now gets a piano black surround. Similarly, the ORVM casings and spoiler on the boot lid are also gloss black. Along the sides, the RS 245 gets newly designed alloy wheels that are now 18-inch in size. While on paper, the RS 245 gets the same 2-liter turbocharged petrol unit as the RS 230, underneath the skin, it gets a lot of new components that have resulted in an increase in power and torque figures. At 241 bhp and 370 Nm, the RS 245 makes 15 bhp and 20 Nm more, something that Skoda claims gives it a 0.2 second advantage from 0 to 100. Frankly, out on the road, you can barely tell the difference in outright acceleration. The RS 245 nonetheless is quite a quick car to drive. Wait, let me show you. Let's slot the car in sport, traction control off, press the brake lever completely and hit the accelerator pedal. Launch control has been activated. Let's go. With the launch control activated, you can rev the engine up to 3.5 to 4,000 RPM to get a quick start off the line. There is a wee bit of a hold up once you lift off the brake pedal, but once past that, the RS 245 just scurries forward. The wheel spins angrily onto the tarmac. There is a bit of a torque steer, but all of that adds much more to the drama of the overall drive experience. The motor revs freely and there's absolutely absolutely no dearth of power. When I experimented with the launch control at the Ambi Valley airstrip during the preview drive, it crossed the quarter-mile line with the speedo reflecting about 188 to 190 kmph. Skoda has replaced the old DQ250 6-speed DSG transmission with the relatively newer DQ381 7-speed DSG unit. The new transmission is noticeably smoother than the old 6-speed unit, and it is almost telepathic in terms of its shifts. Another big change in the RS245 is the addition of the limited slip differential. The old RS230 came with Skoda's XDS Plus system that essentially is a torque vectoring system applying braking force to the inner wheel. The VAQ limited slip differential is a lot more sophisticated than that and ensures more traction to the front wheels. With all the power going to the front wheel, the Octavia RS245 does understeer by nature, but there's no denying that it corners with a lot more surety than the outgoing model. The braking performance has improved too. Also, there's a perceptible change in the ride quality, a result of the larger wheels and the 40 section tires. The RS245 feels a bit harsh than the old 230 and tends to release a thud when driven over sharp potholes. The smaller sidewall tires also mean that you now need to be a little bit more careful while driving over bad roads. RS245 does everything that the RS230 did, and in most cases it does it in a better way. But there is no denying that Skoda has spent far too much time analyzing its viability in the Indian market, and because of that it has started to feel somewhat dated in a few areas. That being said, it is a good thing that it is still incredibly fun to drive. Now let's get to the most important aspect, the price. Skoda has launched the Octavia RS245 at 35.99 lakh rupees, which is an absurd 11 lakh over the RS230 that was on sale in 2017. One of the biggest draws of the RS230 was that it offered BMW 330i or Jaguar XE kind of performance at a considerably affordable price. That, however, isn't the case anymore. In select cities, the RS245 is just 5 lakhs cheaper than the BMW 330i Sport. In fact, even when you look at Skoda's own portfolio, the Superb, which although low on power but a lot bigger in space, offers better value for money proposition. And we can also say that it is mighty fun to drive as well. After all, it did win a spot in our Best of 2020 Mega Test. The Octavia RS has always been categorized as an affordable performance car in India. Well, with the RS245, the affordability is surely lost, but the performance is still very much there. And if you're willing to pay a premium for it, it is definitely worth a spot in your garage even today.